What's going on, you guys? This is your boy RBG, aka the Random Black Gamer, bringing you another video on Dragon Ball Sparking Zero. And this isn't necessarily going to be an update video of any kind. This is just me spitballing some ideas on what I want to see in this game moving forward. Because for the most part, the marketing has been on a skyrocketed high, man. Like Namco Bandai, they really are just hammering it home on the nostalgia front, and they're actually delivering things that we are wanting to see in it before we even suggest it already. You know, it's like as soon as we raise our finger to be like, oh, and I wouldn't mind seeing this, they just implement it in like, oh yeah, we have you covered. So yeah, I just wanted to just, you know, touch base with you guys and just have a general discussion on things, because like I said, Sparking Zero, it has really gotten a lot of us hyped, and it's essentially rekindled our passion for the Dragon Ball Z video games, because that's always been a mixed bag with the audience, right? On one hand, you have that audience that loves the adventure aspect of Dragon Ball Z. It's been a thing since the Dragon Ball arc, where we had Kia Goku going on all these crazy misadventures and coming across all these unique characters, and it's since spanned off into the other arcs such as Dragon Ball Z and Super, where we go from having these globe-trotting adventures to these intergalactic voyages. The Dragon Ball universe is undoubtedly a vast one, and we love exploring some of the more popular landmarks as well as uncharted territories. So yeah, that's definitely something that fans would like to see, and I feel like Dragon Ball Kakarat has done an excellent job of actually just satiating the appetite for that particular element. And when it comes to Tenkaichi, it's also done that too. You know, it's like, even though it is for all intents and purposes a 3D battle arena fighter, it does provide a good balance of the things that we love from games such as Dragon Ball Z Budokai 3 with Dragon Adventure mode, which is basically like this semi-open world free roam aspect that allows you to just travel around the different landmarks of Dragon Ball Z and interact with some of the characters in this story mode scenario. And I find it funny that people aren't really just asking about the modes up in this game in general, up in Sparking Zero, because that's something that I am very curious about. Like, I understand that everybody just wants this roster to be stacked to the gills with the characters that they knew from the past and new characters that are being presented in Dragon Ball Super, but I'm one of those individuals who's more so focused on the modes and features, because those are always going to be those things that elevate each Dragon Ball Z game, because it provides more replayability with all these extracurricular activities. Not to mention that since Dragon Ball Z is this lore-rich property, there are so many things that can actually test our knowledge on what we know and don't know. And there are things that reward you for being a dedicated Dragon Ball Z fan, such as the Disc Fusion option in Dragon Ball Z Budokai Tenkaichi 3, which allows you to transfer your data from the previous installments into that game. And then you had the character reference mode, which didn't just give you a description of each character, it actually provided a hefty amount of hilarious banter from Chi-Chi.
It's that Super Saiyan I hate! Why did everyone in my family become so delinquent?
Not only that, but you could actually go in and look at the characters, like notice certain details such as the lighting and the different stances for each form. You know, things like that. Those are the things that makes us play these games for years on end. And hopefully Spike Chunsoft actually provides the same level of love and passion to this game. It's like, we know that they're doing all these different things in terms of the gameplay, but we want to see an equal amount of that love and passion poured into the features. And I think they ultimately will, because like I said, the marketing team has been on fire, just reassuring us that yes, this is a Tenkaichi title. We're gonna be pumping in all the different things that you loved about those previous installments in a fresh new coat of modern day video game paint. But anyways, as I was saying earlier, guys, I would really love to see some more of that open world aspect expanded upon, because we're living in an age where a lot more can be done now that we have all of these different forms of technology at our fingertips. We don't have to worry about loading screens anymore. Everything can just be simultaneously activated. Like, if I'm flying around with Goku, I don't have to worry about looking at this pre-rendered map and then jumping down only to see this loading screen. Like, if I really wanted to, I could just fly over to Goku's old stomping grounds of Mount Pao and land in that general area without having to worry about any kind of loading. Dragon Ball Kakarot is a prime example of this. It's actually shown us that we can explore the world at large, and they also have taken it upon themselves to integrate different activities to keep us busy. And I feel like that right there is going to be something that Spike Chunsoft could take a lot of notes from, because they've demonstrated with each installment of Dragon Ball Z Budokai Tenkaichi that they don't mind actually taking ideas from previous Dragon Ball Z games such as the Budokai series and implementing them into this Tenkaichi form. Like with each installment of a Dragon Ball Z game, whether it be from a different developer, that's going to be something that's going to up the stakes a little bit. It's going to make it to where fans are expecting a certain amount of quality. And since we've gotten that very good quality with the exploration in Dragon Ball Kakarot, fans of that particular Dragon Ball Z game are going to expect that with Sparking Zero. Just like the fans who absolutely adore the overall presentation of Dragon Ball FighterZ, they're going to expect that same thing with Sparking Zero. I wouldn't even mind if they tried to introduce some of the stealth mechanics seen in games such as Daybreakers, because it's not necessarily stealing ideas, right? All of these things coexist under the same umbrella. This is Dragon Ball Z, and these are actual facets of that particular world. So yeah, this is something that they actually have the rite of passage of doing. That's like accusing a developer of stealing the whole planetary destruction from the Budokai games, where you see that big energy mushroom cloud over the planet, right? Because that's always been an element that's commonly associated with Dragon Ball Z. So any kind of creative plagiarism accusations would be completely asinine, because all those things exist in Dragon Ball Z. The devs of the past just did an excellent job of showing how those elements could be introduced in gameplay format, and I feel like Spike Chunsoft should just continue to build upon those pre-established gameplay elements. Another thing that I feel like they should take into consideration would be the music, because that's undoubtedly the unsung hero of all these games, man. I think I speak for a good majority of the fans when I say that the music has to absolutely slap. They really have to hit it out of the park with the sound design and the overall soundtrack for this game, because the Dragon Ball Z Budokai Tenkaichi series has a lot of iconic songs, man. We're talking songs consisting of Lost Courage, Arcadia Village, Mind Space, The Meteor, so many different bangers, man, that people still listen to this day. And I have a nagging suspicion that a lot of fans would really love to hear these songs again back in a new Tenkaichi game. I'm not just talking the Tenkaichi games themselves, but I'm also referring to other games with different names but still retain the Tenkaichi elements, such as the Rage and Blast series. I'd even take Ultimate Tenkaichi. Like, as bad as that game is and people like to avoid it like the plague, that's one thing that you can't deny, and that's the fact that it had a very good soundtrack, a very underrated one if you guys ask me. Like, anytime I play some of those songs in the background, you guys are always asking me what is it that I'm playing, and that just so happens to be Ultimate Tenkaichi soundtrack. So yeah, I really think that they should consider implementing these games in some form or fashion. Since Sparking Zero is a Bandai Namco property, I really think they should take a look at some of the other alumni members such as Tekken. Like, if you guys are familiar with any of the newer Tekken games such as Tekken 7 and Tekken 8, you know that they have something called Tekken Jukebox, which basically allows them to take songs from the past and tailor them to specific stages and menus. Like, I don't want to undercut the soundtrack that we're going to get in this game because I haven't heard it yet, but I do believe that variety is key, and I think that there's going to be that fans that just want that rush of nostalgia when they're doing battle. And since I brought up Ultimate Tenkaichi, I think that they should really consider implementing some giant boss missions, because that's another thing that I felt like was unrealized up in Ultimate Tenkaichi. Spike Chunsoft was clearly trying to capitalize off of that Naruto Ultimate Ninja Storm market with this one, but it was so undercooked that it was a joke, man. It only made the game worse than it already was. But given the fact that we are going to see a return of these giant characters, I feel like this would be the perfect opportunity to try to capitalize off of that and actually do it the right way, because we already know that these giant characters move good, if not better, than the average size characters. They have a lot of mobility and they don't have to stand there like they did in Ultimate Tenkaichi. If I'm not mistaken, most of the giant characters already served as bosses in Tenkaichi 3. So what I would do is that I would keep the same gameplay mechanics where they get to punch and chase you down, except this time when you get them down to a certain amount of health, a cinematic QuickTime event activates where you get to relive these iconic moments from Dragon Ball Z. Or if they want to, they can go with a simpler approach like they did in Tenkaichi 3, where the L3 button prompt comes up, and when you press the button, it activates the character's ultimate finisher and it kills the enemy instantly. So in essence, we're essentially merging two different concepts together, one from Ultimate Tenkaichi and the other from Tenkaichi 3. But the last thing that I feel like Spike Chunsoft should implement in Dragon Dragon Ball Z Sparking Zero would have to be mini-games. That's something that was surprisingly absent from all the Tenkaichi games. Mini-games. I'm not talking about the ones from the loading screens where you just rapidly tap a button or rotate the analog sticks to make Gohan pull his tail out of his ass. I'm talking about real mini-games where you could essentially relive iconic moments in the form of these fun games, man. I know a lot of people think about Dragon Ball Kakarat when it comes to that because they implemented so many different fun and unique mini games, but one game that comes to my mind would have to be Dragon Ball Infinite World. That is a Dragon Ball Z game where the developers went balls to the wall with all the different content, especially when it comes to mini games. And what I loved about it is that they weren't just meaningless, they actually had context to them because they actually were associated with different story beats that we saw from Dragon Ball Z. For example, when Goku defeats Frieza, he has to escape the planet of Namek because it's on the verge of blowing up, right? You actually get a chance to play with Goku and try to find the spaceship so you can escape. You also had missions that correlated to Goku's training on King Kai's planets, such as sneaking up and trying to catch bubbles. There are even mini games that feature training segments, such as Vegeta in his weighted gravity chamber, and sparring sessions between characters such as Kid, Gohan, and Piccolo, where you basically had to play this rhythm-based mini game. You know, things that actually fit within the context of the story that we're reliving. I would really love to see all the things that I mentioned featured in Dragon Ball Sparking Zero, but I want to turn it over to you guys because it's not all about what I have to say. I want to know what you think about this. Are there any specific things that you would like to see implemented in Dragon Ball Sparking Zero? Let me know in the comment section below. And to get a confirmation that you made it to the end of this video, follow your comment up with hashtag SparkingVariety. As always, I ask that you like or dislike the video. It doesn't have to be a thumbs up, it can be a thumbs down. But if you really enjoyed this video, it would help me out tremendously if you shared it with all your friends and followers on all the different social media outlets. Sharing is caring. But once again, this is your boy RBG, aka the Random Black Gamer, signing out on another video. I'll catch you guys later. Peace out. As a successful YouTube user, I often get questions asking what I use to get my videos tons of views. And the answer to that is TubeBuddy. This thing has helped me take my channel to the next level in ways I never imagined. It's a browser extension that helps new and experienced YouTubers grow fast and optimize their channels. I've been using this extension for years and it's constantly getting updated with new features, like the SEO tool that helps me come up with the perfect title, description, and tags to get more people to click on my videos. It even provides you with analytics besides your videos to see how much traffic your video is generating from various social media sites. The extension is absolutely free, but as a special offer, we're giving a 50% discount for channels that have less than 1,000 subscribers that purchase the Pro upgrade. All you have to do is enter in the code RisingStarBuddy. So if you're interested in starting a YouTube channel or taking your content to the next level, download the extension now. You can do so by clicking on this link that'll be provided in the description of this video.